Alright guys, we're back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is Ali Plays, and let's get started. We're going to go over the champion, the new champions. I think it was 14 champions in patch 1.8 have come out. We're going to start with Cruetraxa, I think her name is. She's a Void Affinity champion, legendary champion, part of the Demon Spawn faction. So already she's going to be very hard to get because she's a Void legendary. Hopefully she's the fusion. Her skills look pretty good. She attacks one enemy 4 times and ignores 50% of enemy defense. This is very powerful, especially when you get Giant Slayer on her. And this is her basic attack, so it's really good. And Curse of Writhing attacks one enemy. And she has a 50% chance of placing a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns. And she has a 50% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target grants an extra turn. So this might be broken, man. So when the clan boss puts a buff on himself, she's going to remove the buff. Like sometimes he has attack up or something like that. And then she gets an extra turn. So with that extra turn, she can use her Dire Perforation move, and then she can attack him 4 times again, and then she can proc Giant Slayer, and she ignores 50% of enemy defense. This is really powerful. And also she has Weaken, so she can take Aethel's spot in the clan boss, because a lot of people use Aethel, but she is going to be hard to get, so hopefully she's the fusion champion. But it might break the game if she's a fusion champion, because everybody's going to have her. Mostly everybody. So Rite of Rebirth places a Revive on Death buff on this champion for 2 turns at the beginning of each round, so she's going to be hard to kill. And she places a Revive on buff on this champion for 1 turn when this champion kills enemy, so this is not going to be useful for anything except in arena, and I guess for dungeons, if you kill the ads and stuff like that. And then her aura skill is pretty strong too, increase ally attack in all battles by 24%, so she can already be a lead like almost anywhere, like all over the game. So she's very, very strong champion. And then the next champion is Inthway Blood Twin. So I believe it seems like these guys are related. And he's a Void legendary as well. Same faction, Demon Spawn. And he's an attack type. She's also an attack type. Vitality Sensor. He attacks one enemy and decreases the target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted. Personally, I don't like decreasing target's max HP, but could be useful. And No Mercy attacks one enemy 3 times. Damage increase equals the percent of the HP the target has lost. So this is going to be very powerful in clan boss if you're fighting him with I guess like less than 40% HP. If he has less than 40% HP. I mean, if the clan boss has less than 40% HP, he's going to be doing a lot of damage. Hasn't been tested yet. Tormenting Whispers. He attacks all enemies and has an 80% chance of placing a 10% leech debuff for 2 turns. So with leech, he's going to be, as the name says, leeching. So he's going to be recovering his own health off of the target. It attacks all enemies, so that's pretty strong, man. Final Doom. So this guy has a lot of abilities, eh? Final Doom is... We're going to just read, if he's basic, his enemies killed by his champion cannot be revived. Once it's ascended, heals the champion by 30% of their max HP each time they kill an enemy. Enemies killed by his champion cannot be revived. You know what that means, right? Ice Golem's Peak, they will not be revived. I'm not sure if this is going to work in spiders then. Might be very powerful, man. Might be broken. Increase ally attack in all battles by 33%. So that's already, his leader skill is already better than Traxa. So this guy is very, very good, man. I want to get this guy. Bet he's a Void though. Next up we have an Epic. Eric. He's a magic type. Epic HP faction Lizardman. His move is Rending Claws. It attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. So it's a 1 hit and it decreases attack. So that's pretty good. Well, it's okay for an Epic, I guess. Leader places a 50% ally protection and 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. This is very strong. Very strong for arena. Altering Scales places a 15% continuous heal buff on an ally for 1 turn. Whenever an ally loses 20% of their max HP in 1 hit. That's also good for arena. Or increase ally HP in all battles by 30%, 33%. These aura skills are getting better than the old aura skills because they're old battles instead of specific battles. That's good. He's a pretty solid champion. The other one is Teshada. He's an epic force champion. Defense type from the faction Barbarian faction. First move Savage Fury. She attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack is critical. Maybe need to build with crit. Maximum Carnage. 3 times at random. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns. Yeah, that's good, I guess, for clan boss, depending on how much cooldown is. Appeasement. Attacks one enemy, revives a random ally with 40% of this. Okay, I thought attacks one enemy, revives a random ally with 40% HP if this attack kills the target. Only available when an ally is dead. Yeah, obviously, right? So this could be good in arena. Yeah, this is going to be good in arena. She's just a solid champion. Next up is Missionary, Epic Force Champion, HP type, faction Sacred Order. So he has a Crashing Halberd. He attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. So with stun, we already know he's going to be an arena champion. In the Thick, attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a Provoke debuff for 1 turn, and he has a 100% chance of placing the Provoke debuff for 1 turn if this champion current HP is higher than the target's current HP. So this guy will be needed will need to be built with a lot of HP type. So this guy's very solid tank because he has a stun. That's crowd control, I guess, already, and provoke if he has higher HP. So you can target a champion that does a lot of damage. Usually attackers have little bit of HP, so he's gonna be really good. Humble the Faithless. He attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. So this guy is really good tank for Arena. All his moves are synergized with Arena. Aura, increase ally HP in all dungeons by 33%. Yeah, this should have been an Arena. So next up is Interceptor. She's a rare champion. Void Affinity, again. Defense type. And High Elves faction. So I feel like they're trying to release a lot of Void champions. I think Void shards are overpriced and it's harder to get a legendary. Like an Ancient shards they have a higher chance to get a legendary than a Void. So like Pierce, he attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a 15% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Somnolent Toxin. Somnolent Toxin attacks one enemy, has a 45% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn. And she places a 50% weaken debuff for 2 turns if this champion skill does not place a sleep debuff. Ward off, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 50%. So, this is meh. Centurion. Void champion, rare. Defense type, Knights Revenant faction. Feed on Suffering. Attacks one enemy, heals the champion by 50% of the damage inflicted. So this guy's going to be really tanky. But he's not going to deal a lot of damage, so I guess not. Or this move is not going to recover too much health. Unless he has lifesteal as well. Freaker's Resilience. He heals his champion by 30% of their max HP and places a 30% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns. Soul Possession exchanges the remaining HP levels with the target enemy. Then equalize the HP of all allies. That looks pretty powerful. Centurion looks better than Interceptor. Steel Bowyer. He's a rare type, force champion, attack type, and faction is Dark Elves. Biting Arrows. She attacks one enemy twice. And she has a 35% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Thrill of the Hunt. She attacks one enemy twice and heals the champion by 50% of the damage inflicted on each critical hit. So she looks pretty good. She looks like a good clan boss champion. She can heal herself without needing lifesteal. And Big Game. Attacks all enemy 3 times. So it says basic here. So it also has an ascension level that they have not placed on here. Next up, Tree Feller. Rare type, Affinities Force, type attack, faction Orcs. Pruning Limbs, she attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Decreased attack is on a lot of champions now, eh? Chop Down, attacks one enemy 2 times, each has a 50% chance of placing a 2.5% poison debuff for 2 turns, and a 50% chance to place a 15% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. So poison is always good to have. Blasting Powder. Attacks a random enemy 2 times and has a 70% chance of placing a bomb debuff that detonates after 3 turns. So the thing about bombs, they're very powerful, but they do not. They take a long time. Like 3 turns in arena is a very long time. Like the match could be over by then. So you're gonna need somebody to decrease the timer on the bombs. Witness, rare type, magic affinity, support, and faction Sacred Order. First move is Long Shot. She attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing an extra hit. Support Fire, attacks one enemy, places a 30% increased defense debuff or buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 3 turns. So that one's good, but the ally would probably be dead. It'd be better, but she is a rare, so they don't want to make her too powerful. Prayer of Comfort, she places a block debuff buff on all allies for 1 turn, and she plays a shield buff equal to 30% of the champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. So that is really powerful. She's gonna be a pretty solid rare character to use in dungeons. Backer, she's an uncommon, so don't expect her to be good. Force Affinity type attack for Orc faction. Hooked Arrowhead, she attacks one enemy 2 times. The second hit has a 10% chance of placing a 2.5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So I can see her, an Outlaw Monk, creating a pretty good free-to-play clan boss team. And then she has Stinging Rebuke. She attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. So that is also good for clan boss. So she's going to be a good free-to-play character for clan boss with Outlaw Monk. Zephyr Sniper. Uncommon, Affinity Spirit, type defense, Barbarian faction. Suppressive Fire is her ability. She attacks all enemies and has a 15% chance of increasing cooldown of random skill on each target by 1 turn. So this move is very good for free-to-play Spider's Den. You're going to have Sister Militants, I think his name was Saurus, and her. That's very good. And then Ranger skill, she places a continuous heal buff on all allies for 1 turn. That's good. So she's pretty solid. Her and Tracker. Good free-to-play options. Picker. Uncommon type, Force Affinity, HP, and Demon Spawn faction. Hamstring Bite. He attacks one enemy and has a 25% chance of placing a 50% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. And Rabid Infection attacks all enemies and has a 25% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. So yeah, he's just going to be used for food mostly. I mean, his Rabid Infection has potential, but we're going to leave it at that. Thrall. This guy's a cool name. He's magic, common type, attack, nice Revenant faction. 1 move, Shambling Assault. He attacks 1 enemy and has a 5% chance of placing an extra hit. So those are the new champions. And also one thing I want to mention is that we also have a new faction. I'll mention that we have a new faction that they have not talked about, the Dwarves faction. So this might be released in patch 2.0. We're at 1.8, yeah, so 2.0 maybe. We'll see what happens. I guess that's pretty cool. Hopefully they make them look pretty good and not all generic. And yeah, that's it for the video, guys. If you found this video helpful in any way, please drop a like. And if you are new to the channel and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I do videos like this almost every day. And I want to thank you guys for watching and hope you guys have a great day.